Hi, and welcome to yet another martial talk. In this video, we're zooming in on Taekwondo history, and once again, we're taking a look at the roots in Moo Duk Kwan, in the school of Moo Duk Kwan. If this has your interest, then keep watching. Okay, as mentioned, this video is focusing in on the roots of Moo Duk Kwan again, or the Taekwondo roots in the Moo Duk Kwan school. This is part 2 of this session. So last time we were focusing on, or in part 1 we were focusing on the founder of Moo Duk Kwan, of Sobakdo Tangsoro Moo Duk Kwan, Grandmaster Pyung Ahn. This time we will focus on his student, Grandmaster Hong Chong-so. Hong is the last name and Chong-so is the first name, just like Fang is the last name of Pyung Ahn and Ke is the first name. Focusing on his student, Grandmaster Hong Chong-so, we mentioned last time that he's the co-founder of Taekwondo Moo Duk Kwan, or the Taekwondo Moo Duk Kwan branch of the Moo Duk Kwan branch of Taekwondo. And we also mentioned that he was student number 10 of Grandmaster Pyung Ahn. What that means is that Grandmaster Pyung Ahn kept a book where he wrote down the names of all the students that he promoted first degree black belt. And also in that sense, he gave them something he called a danbon number. And Grandmaster Hong was given the danbon number 10 by Grandmaster Pyung Ahn, which means that he was the 10th of Pyung Ah's student that Pyung Ahn promoted first degree black belt. So that's what that means, and that's why he was Grandmaster Pyung Ah's student number 10. So if we take a closer look at Grandmaster Hong, then sometimes in the sources, books or articles you could find on the internet, you'd find his name the Chung part of his name spelled with a J instead of CH. So if it says Hong Chung-so or Hong Jong-so, it's the same person. And I believe that the reason why you sometimes find it with a CH and sometimes with a J is due to translation from the Korean alphabet to the Western letters. That J and CH can sometimes be pronounced a little bit similar with the chung, yeah, in that sense. So if you find Hong Chung-so with a J or Hong Chung-so with a CH, it's the same person. Also, it's worth here to mention, or we should mention here, that there's 3 of his students that deserve a little extra attention. Especially if you're a practitioner in Denmark, also in the United States. One of them is Grandmaster Richard Chung, and another one is Grandmaster Pyung Ahn, and we have Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong as well. These 3 students of Grandmaster Hong are students that I will talk a little bit more about today as well, so we know why it is why they're worth mentioning. In fact, I'll start talking a little bit about Grandmaster Richard Chung, because he wrote a book called Taekwondo Spirit and Practice Beyond Self-Defense. He wrote several books, but that one is one that I particularly will mention because it has a lot of information about what it was like being a student of Grandmaster Hong and how it all worked out when you were a student under Grandmaster Hong. And what he tells in his book is that all the training started with students mopping the floor. There's really 2 reasons for this. One of them was to keep the doyang clean, and the other one was to instill a sense of pride and respect for the school and the art. So at the very beginning, this way of teaching was involved more than just teaching kicks, punches, and kicks. It had a element of bringing up these and working with the mental state and with this character and spirit of the students as well. And this was cleaning the floor was not something that all students did. It was only the color belt students that did this. So Dan Holder, black belt students, they were not part of doing this. They had already been going through it. And then when they finished cleaning the floor or mopping the floor, the students would start themselves with warm-up exercises, and then they would start practicing their forms. And during this time, Hung was not present in the dojang. They did it themselves, and they did it with guidance and advice from senior students. And then all of a sudden, Hung would appear in the dojang while they were practicing, and that would be after having practiced for half an hour or an hour or something like that. Then he would show up, and he would just stand there, saying nothing, looking at them. When they saw him, they would immediately stop, turn towards him and bow. And then, when he fell for it, he would call to attention, and then he would show them a technique. Maybe once, maybe twice, and then he would have the students practice this technique for 200 to 300 times a day, 200 to 300 times a day. And for how long? Well, until he decided that they mastered it well enough. Until he felt that they mastered the technique well enough, they would be practicing this one technique 200 to 300 times a day. And then when he felt they mastered it well enough, he might give a little bit more insight of the technique, give a little bit further explanation, or show another technique that they could not now start practicing. And on top of this, they should of course practice previous techniques as well. So this was a way that he taught. And Grandmaster Hung was at the time a grandmaster of the highest caliber. His school was one of the most known schools and high quality schools in Seoul at the time. He was known for his teachings following traditional methods, and for his style that was very rigorous and disciplined. So it was tough being one of his students, and that's probably one of the reasons why the three students that I highlight or mention here explicitly came as far as they did. All three of them were 9th degree black belts and really went beyond. And if we take a look at the first of them, Richard Chung, who unfortunately has passed away at the moment of the recording of this video, so may he rest in peace. He was born Rinmun born in Seoul, but he moved to the island, the Jeju island, when the Korean War broke out. And then at the age of 19 in 1943, 54, in 1954, at the age of 19, he returned back to Seoul. And then in 62, he moved to the United States to study at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C. And all of this is something his personal history is something you can read in the book. I put a front page of the book, Taekwondo Spirit and Practice Beyond Self-Defense, book that I can really recommend, because you get insights on what it was like growing up and practicing Taekwondo, getting there, having to move to the Jeju Island, finding people that you knew, gathering together, practicing in open fields where you didn't have proper practice facilities, having to go back, and the cultural differences when moving to the United States and getting started with all of his organization. About that, in 64, he established the Richard Chung Taekwondo Center. In 73, he led and coached the American national team at the first WTF World Championships in Korea. So he was a man that really accomplished a lot of things and really brought Grandmaster Hyungs' teachings to the United States. If we look at his lineage, then this is what it looks like. You have Grandmaster Wang Ke, and then you have Grandmaster Hyung, and then from Grandmaster Hyung you go to Richard Chung. Another student that we're going to look at is a student that has had a really large impact on the Danish Taekwondo Society, and this is Grandmaster Pyung Ahn, also a 9th degree black belt. And Grandmaster Pyung Ahn, he came to Europe in just like Richard Chung went out of Korea and wanted to go to the United States. Grandmaster Pyung Ahn was supposed to go to the United States as well, but instead of ending up in the United States, he ended up in Holland, in Europe, back in 1975. But he only stayed there for about a year, because in 1976 he went to Denmark, and he played a tremendous role in Denmark in the Danish Taekwondo, and has been ever since, because he's still here. He started out in the beginning staying with Jørgen Skovby in the city of Aarhus, and practiced from there. And one of the reasons why he's played such a tremendous role in the Danish Taekwondo Society and the Danish Taekwondo in general is that he was a crucial figure in the transition from ITF Taekwondo to WTF Taekwondo in Denmark. Because he came in Denmark, back in the days, we were actually practicing ITF Taekwondo, but with Grandmaster Pyung Ahn, this was transformed or changed, transited into what we know today as Kukiwon Taekwondo, or WTF Taekwondo as it was called back then. And in 1980, the Chis Friends Association was founded, and this was an association created to support Grandmaster Pyung Ahn and his teachings. So he was the natural chief instructor or grandmaster of this association. Also, you can on the bottom picture image you can see here on the slide, you see a man hanging up in the air in head's height. That's actually Grandmaster Pyung Ahn. That's performing Trio Yapchaki there. On the color photo that you see, that's a private photo from my personal collection, with Grandmaster Pyung Ahn and myself back in the year 2000. He had just promoted me 4th degree black belt at the time. I've been so fortunate that I've been receiving teachings from Grandmaster Pyung Ahn for 8-10 years, I think, during my studies and a little bit afterwards as well. And then I've been teaching together with him at the black belt promotion committee and trainings for the Danish Taekwondo Federation for many years. So it's been really a pleasure, and it's been a privilege to be able to receive teachings from a strong profile like him. And if we look at his lineage, it's the same as Richard Chung. So he's also a third in line grandmaster, with the now passed away Grandmaster Hyung, and his now passed away the Grandmaster Wang Ke before him. So that's another very dominant character that is worth knowing about. A third one that we should mention, and that I also mentioned last time, is Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong. And Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong is also a 9th degree black belt, born on July 24th back in 1948. As mentioned in the previous video, part 1 of this Roots in Moo Duk Kwan series, he started in judo in 59 and then switched to Taekwondo in 1960. He was in the military, Korean military, from 1970 to 73. And from 73 until 1980, he alternated between being a warrior monk in a monastery north of Seoul and training and teaching Taekwondo in Seoul, in Grandmaster Hyung's school back in Seoul. Also in 1980, Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong, he came to Denmark, and he started out in the city where I live right now, in Fredericia, which is also why he has a very close connection to that school. And when the association Simu was founded, Simu Taekwondo was founded, then he was the head grandmaster of that organization. You see Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong performing a Pitrochagi at the bottom picture. And then at the color photo is also a private photo from my private collection of me standing next to Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong when he promoted me 7th degree black belt back in 2017. Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong has been also he's my grandmaster, and has been the grandmaster that I've been receiving the most teachings from throughout my career. First time I received teachings from him was when I was I think 9 years old. I had to, in the school up in Thisted, northwestern part of Denmark, you had to be a 4th Kup or red belt before you could start attending the classes that he was giving. So from that point, when I received that degree, I've been and forward in time, I've been receiving teachings from him. Of course, I had some years where I had to move away to study, and during those years were the years where I was receiving teachings from Grandmaster Pyung Ahn. So I've been very privileged to receive teachings from both Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong and Grandmaster Pyung Ahn. Ko Tae-yong is also the grandmaster at the school that I'm a part of right now, and has been the one that has been that I've known for the longest. But though both of them are very competent and I feel very privileged to have had the chance to receive teachings from both of them, and hope to continue being able to receive teachings going forward as well. So well, if we look at the lineage from Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong, then he's also a third line Grandmaster, only having Grandmaster Hong and Grandmaster Van Ke before him in the lineage. So, and you see here, you see the Simu, and I also put the Fredericia emblem on here because he first of all, it's just the school that I'm part of, but today. But it's also a school that is to that school, Grandmaster Ko Tae-yong plays a very vital role. Okay, so this was a little bit more in depth and a little bit more focused on the roots of Moo Duk Kwan. So thank you for listening here.
This was everything for now, guys. So I hope this was something that you could use. If it was, then put a like down there, put a comment in the comment field. And from here, only thing left to say is enjoy your training and have a nice day.